Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Rediscover the 80s podcast and a special edition with Jason here and Wyatt over there
Yeah, we're actually together, which about once a year, but we do it.
in the same dungeon studio in a undisclosed location in an undisclosed state, we'll say, not Pennsylvania, but we
Yeah.
were in Pennsylvania the last couple days at a wonderful, wonderful event called Retrocon. And we had been there 2 years ago,
hmm
and that was an awesome privilege in itself. Uh, Basically, getting to host a panel about the 30th anniversary of Mobile Armored Strike Command, and getting to meet Mr. Doug Stone. And I mean, that was just an incredible. I don't think I could ever reach that plateau again at a convention.
That's very hard to beat. Yeah.
Um, but this year at Retrocon, we got to meet some incredible people. We got to go to an awesome concert. We got to meet some of our what I'll call online friends that we we rarely get to see in person. Social media celebrities, as I think is what I called them over on Instagram and Twitter today. And we got to buy some awesome collectibles that reach back to our era, mainly in the 80s. And I mean, it was a really great time. I live in Alabama, so I flew up and got to stay here with Wyatt, and we actually stayed overnight closer to the show there in Oaks, PA, which is at the Greater Philadelphia Expo Center, where the actual show is. And it's just wall to wall. The name says it
Nostalgia.
all. Yeah, it's retro collectibles and memorabilia and celebrities, and I mean it's just it's an awesome show. And where I like to put it kind of on the spectrum of things is there are shows definitely below Retrocon and there's shows that are definitely above Retrocon.
Right.
And sometimes you're in a smaller market, something maybe being in Montgomery, this was the first time we had a con, I think, ever. And I did not go to it this year just because I know they're just starting out, and I really didn't want to be disappointed. I guess is what you'll say. But then you've got San Diego, New York, Dragon Con, and Atlanta, where it's just there's tens of thousands
Oh
of
yes.
people. There is parades. There's these major celebrities, actors coming in to release new footage and everything. So that's way above on the spectrum. And Retrocon, for me, kind of fits nicely in the middle. There's an awesome mix of people. You get all the cosplayers, and you still get to meet what our era celebrities is what I would say, voice actors and even TV and movie actors, as we got to meet this year. But I don't know. I thought it was fun when we just kind of go through our experience this year as part of our coverage. We're going to be putting up tons of pictures over on Rediscover the 80s. Cosplayers, the vehicles, just random stuff that we found was like, wow, this exists.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
That's some of the wow moments you get when you just walk through the tables. It's like, oh my gosh, I remember that, and I don't remember that, and I can't believe that's actually
A thing. Yeah.
here. You get those moments as you're walking through, and just some of our experiences too. Pictures with the celebrities, but
Yeah.
why don't you go through kind of the rundown here of who was there at the show, Wyatt, and so people that maybe are close enough to drive within a couple hours, or even would want to fly in and experience the show. Let's give them kind of an overview of what the show was this year.
This was just a spectacular show convention, but no better way to put it. It's housed at the Greater Philadelphia Expo Center, which is actually located in Oaks, kind of I'll call it a suburb of King of Prussia. Uh, Huge area, Could use a little bit more parking, but it was still because they had two
It was a
conventions.
challenge. Well, they had a Pokemon
No,
something going
it was a
on,
Minecraft
or Minecraft. Yeah,
Minecraft Mine Fair something going on.
yeah.
But
So it was a challenge to park, but it was well worth the effort, and to trying to find somebody leaving to
yeah,
grab their space.
so yeah, as you can see on your screen, especially for the YouTube fans here, this is the website retrocons with an s.com, and this is their basically what's going on. The list of people that they had representing. They had Dwight Schultz, who played Murdoch from the A Team, and some remember him from Star Trek as Reggie Barkley. There was Dirk Benedict, Face Man. So we had the double wow A Team.
Half the A team,
Yeah,
yeah.
half the A Team. He played Face, obviously. They played Starbuck in the, I'll call it the original Battlestar Galactica.
Mm-hmm.
Scrolling down, we have Arthur Burkhart, who played Destro from G.I. Joe. Devastator as well from the Transformers movie, and I think he played Destro throughout the series when
I believe
Devastator
so.
was
Mm-hmm.
introduced. And then we had Rob Paulson, who plays two turtles, one from 30 years ago, Raphael, and one from now, being Donatello for the new Nickelodeon Nicktoons uh, Mutant Turtles. He also played Yakko, and that's from Animaniacs, and Pinky from Pinky and the Brain. So,
and a slew of others. Same with Arthur. You go out to their IMDb. There's just it's a long list. You'll be there reading a while.
that's it with the voice actors. Even if you look at Dwight, he stayed into the voice
Yes.
acting stuff mostly for games because that's where the. He even said it today at the Q&A panel. He said the gaming industry is bigger than Hollywood.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking at one of our memory joggers how the arcade games were bigger than the movies at one
Oh
point.
yeah, yeah.
So
And now it's back.
yeah,
Except it's not in your local mall.
right.
It's at home.
And then next we had on Saturday, I'll say during the day, I think for a couple hours. I don't think they were there for the full time. But they had the Cybertronic Spree, which is I'll call it a cosplay band. So you
Yes.
have people that are dressed up in probably like a foam board outfit with sleeves and stuff. But you have Rodimus Prime, you have RC, you have Rumble, you have
Unicron.
Unicron, and we keep forgetting this guy's name.
The five-faced the guilty or innocent in the
Yeah,
movie. I think he's the bass player.
Quintessence.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So they were there, and they were doing photo ops, and Jason and I will post that up here on the YouTube video later when we edit it. So it was great, and then later on that night they actually had a concert,
Mm-hmm.
and that was just they played just about every song I think except one.
Yeah.
From
We'll
the
get into more of
soundtrack.
that later.
Yes, but I
Yeah,
mean,
it
this was just a
was.
blast. Then you had the Angry Nerd video game. He was there basically just walking around representing himself, but I think he had actually a panel to discuss
I believe
his
so. Yeah.
podcast. There's a couple other
He's a YouTube.
podcasters.
He's mainly a YouTuber, I believe.
Right.
Reviewing games and such.
Right, and
Nostalgia.
then you can see on as we scroll down, Tony and Rosie, who are I'll call it the Retrocon king and queen. They're the ones that really set this off, and we cannot applaud them enough for what they do for us as fans.
Yeah.
They actually have a replica DeLorean, and they added to the inventory an A-Team van here just recently, which was just perfect for Face and Murdoch to show up
Yep.
and take photo ops with that. It was just awesome. They had the replica Jurassic Park Jeep.
Mm-hmm.
They had a replica newer Charger General Lee. They had the Ghostbusters representing with their ski on Ghost Ecto One.
Mm-hmm.
They had the Bill and Ted phone booth out right at the front. In the
they
front.
put it out front this year.
Yeah,
that was great. We got a little photo op there, and yes, Spaceballs the display.
Yes,
that's been there both years that we've been there. It's just a array of props and such from the film, and there's fun stuff too. Like you can see there, the events are they do karaoke, they did trivia this year, what I would call like TV movie trivia, and
Mhm.
then they also did essentially name that tune
Right.
trivia, and we're giving away prizes. And then the panels, they had panels with all of the two voice actors, and then they had an A-team panel,
Yeah.
and several other just you can sit down and the podcasters they came in and were talking about their shows and such. But just a lot to do there,
Oh
and
yeah.
by the time you get there, it's almost overwhelming because okay, do I hit the tables first and start going through trying to find some cool collectibles and such? Do I go back and meet the actors and everything, and or do I want to make sure I get in a panel? I mean, there's always something going on, and then different parts of there's you've got several rows of tables and even on the sides, and then back in the corner they have a free arcade
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
I was trying to get in to play a game of Spy Hunter on a cabinet, and these two little kids were in there just totally sucking at the game, and I never got to I wasn't patient enough to go in there and wait my turn. But they have just home consoles set up with retro games, and then they have some arcade machines back there for you just to relive your a little bit of childhood, and going to the mall and hitting arcades. And there's certain groups that have come both times we've been there. I'm pretty sure they come each time. There's a group that basically cosplay the show V,
Yeah.
uh, which they have some fantastic costumes and just memorabilia and stuff that they have there. Back in the corner this year was the GI Joe cosplayers,
Yeah.
and it's this nationwide group of GI Joe fans that come together and do shows. And they had uh, they had the same people essentially there each day, except they changed costumes up.
Yeah.
So we got some new characters today. So we had a long conversation with one of the gentlemen there, and they do it a lot to give back to the military community. Actually, a
Right.
lot of them are retired servicemen, and some are still active duty. And they go out cosplay. They raise funds
For the USO.
for the
Yeah.
USO, and it was really humble. They had their own little trading cards there. They had a poster on the wall where some of the cosplayers have signed. One the one thing I do remember is the person I think that printed that poster or created it. His son was one of the
Mhm.
characters, and his son was one of the kids in the GI Joe PSAs. It was the one with the fork and the toaster,
Right.
because that was his little on the card. That was his accessories.
Right. It was
So I
awesome.
mean, that was just fantastic to talk with them
Yeah.
as well. So there's several of those. There's always a Star Wars booth. There are two, and lots of Star Wars cosplayers that walk through, and then anybody and everybody who wants to dress up. And we even decided to do it this year because we've been scheming. This is a little getaway for me, both of us
Right.
essentially, since it's about 2 hours drive to get there from where you live, Wyatt. But we were like, okay, so half of the A team is there. The van is going to be there. Let's go ahead and dress up. Let's try to pull this off. And I don't know. I think we did a decent job.
Yeah, we even got
we,
comments already on your Twitter or Facebook or
uh,
Instagram, one of the two, 3,000. Um,
well, yes, social
so
media.
right, and I dressed up as Murdoch. I had the leather jacket, blue ball cap, and I was wearing what Jason's wearing right now, the T-shirt there, the Rediscover the '80s that you can't see because of the mic. And then I decided to add a little flair. Oh, I wore the khakis too.
Right.
Add a little flair
Sneakers.
because he's always crazy. I mean, it's Murdoch, right? So I had the claw from Thermidor from one of the episodes, and I had Saki from the other one, and I walked around like that. And there's quite a few people that liked that. I think even Dwight kind of had a small
Yeah,
smirk. I
you
don't
got
think
the sock. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. And then Jason decided
yeah,
to gray himself.
yeah. I was we were going back and forth. So Dirk and uh, Dwight were there, and we're like, okay, so Face and Murdoch, I should probably be Face. And I was thinking more about it, and I was like, I don't know. I've never really dyed my hair.
Right.
So I accepted that challenge and decided I was going to be Hannibal, and I found and I'll tell you the inspiration for my costume came from the Funko Pop Vinyl Hannibal because I've got all four of those. Because there's several different. He wore several different color shirts. He typically wore the khaki coat.
Right.
But I decided to go with the light blue, like button-up shirt, and then off of eBay I got a holster.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a little cat pistol as a holster, and then I found it wasn't a coat, but it was a khaki shirt, long sleeve that I wore over the blue one, and then you were humble enough to get me some black leather gloves.
Yep.
Which was great, and then it was black pants. And then I didn't have brown the combat boots, so I just wore some khaki slip-ons that I had to kind of go with it. And then the piece de resistance was the cigar. I had to go get a pack of cigars,
Yep.
carry that around, and it was neat because I did go out to eBay and we bought some toy guns. They were super small. They were like half the size of what the actual guns would be. We needed to have an AK-47.
Yeah, we needed the props.
We needed an Uzi, and the pistol. I wanted to get more of a gray or polished, 9mm or something. But I ended up getting that little revolver. But it was neat because next to the van, they had a box full of faux weapons.
Yeah.
So we were able to grab some more life-size Uzis and AKs and shotguns, and
that's right. It was fun though.
We were able to use those in some of the pictures. But yeah, I really had a fun experience. This will not be the last time I dress up. For a convention, but
this was
I
great.
plan to pull out Hannibal again at our little fall festival coming up at Halloween. But that was fun. I had a great time doing that. I don't know. For me, I'm like, okay, are these guys going to be insulted by, dressing up like them? And, I don't know the way most celebrities are at conventions and signings and stuff, but I think they were gracious enough to even entertain us.
Well, about 1 o'clock on Saturday, they let us all basically take our turn as a group photos with the guys in front of the van. And initially Dirk even said, what, where's my costume? And then he's like, wait a minute, you're about the right height as George. Yeah.
Yeah, we were that was one thing that kind of took me back, if we want to go into meeting them just for a minute. But they were tall. They were taller than I expected.
Yeah, they were.
And he did mention that George Papard was shorter than them. And I even remember reading somewhere, or maybe in one of the documentaries or featurettes, them saying that he actually used some kind of implants in his shoes to make him a little taller,
right,
and match up. And they used specific shots to make him appear taller than he actually was. But yeah, it was great. We went over to meet Dirk. No, we met Dwight first.
Dwight first, yes.
And it was just, I mean, they were both great.
Very, yes, yes.
Thankful that they came. Most of these guys work in Hollywood, out in California, and to fly over. Obviously, they're getting paid to be here, but still, I mean, you got to want to do that, and you're not just going to show up to show up. And with all four of them that were there, they were beyond gracious, and Rob especially. We can talk about him a little bit later, but very conversational.
Yeah.
Awesome to just shake hands with. Didn't necessarily have to plop down some money to get him to sign anything. I did end up doing that for Murdoch, right. But they didn't care whether you bought something or not. They were just happy to meet people.
Yeah, That's it. And I did just like I did on my Dukes when I went to Cooter's Last Stand. I gave them a coin, both.
Yeah, and they really appreciated that.
Yeah, they did. I was, I don't think many fans give them anything or give them much more than, hey, I got to meet Face and Murdoch, and that's here's my 20 or whatever. Oh yeah.
There's that for those of you watching on YouTube, I got
Dwight
to autograph the Funko Pop that I had.
Yeah, that was sweet. But yeah, they were really appreciative. I said, this is the unit I'm assigned to right now and get ready to retire, but I want to say thank you for what you've done. It's you helped entertain me basically, and they're just, wow, this is so cool to get this coin. And it's just it is a metal coin. Military community gives away coins typically, but it was just, they were impressed.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, they just making an impression on them instead of the opposite. It's kind of a reverse reaction.
Right.
And you could tell they were both appreciative of it.
Yeah.
As we, of course, all are for your service. But yeah, that was cool. We took a picture with Dwight, and then we waited until 1:30, and then they brought them both over to the van to get pictures, and we got a nice group photo. And our buddy Bill Ferris from Matt Tracker was there. We don't want to forget him. He came in just as we were walking in, or he was already there, and we got to meet up with him again. He was part of that mask panel 2 years ago, and it was good to see him. We walked the tables a little bit, and then he got in the photo with us, with both of them in the van. We had lunch with Bill. It was really good to catch up with him face to face. We communicate a lot back and forth, on Facebook or something, and we kind of share each other's material on Facebook and site to site and such. But that was great to be around, hang around him, and meeting. We had the full A team there with the mask A team,
pretty much, yeah.
except for our buddy Eric out there. We got to get him to come east one of these times from BoulderHill.net. Missed you, Eric. But yeah, I mean, it was a great time meeting both of them, and then what else did we do? I mean, we basically just scoured the tables.
Repeatedly, it was like we were learning that there was more stuff on those tables that we didn't see before. Yesterday was more of I'll call it a browsing. It really wasn't in depth.
Well, we bought some stuff, but we also eyeballed some stuff. If that's here tomorrow, I'm gonna make an offer. I'm
gonna make an offer. You can't refuse. But yeah, it was. But man, we went through those tables quite a bit, and then today you ran into your podcast buddies.
Yeah, we that was really neat. We all have what I would call internet friends.
Yeah.
And our social media buddies, and obviously, social media is worldwide, and you get to meet all people from all over the world. But there's always those ones you gravitate to that are your interested in your stuff, and do the same kind of thing. So, well, Saturday we got to meet Sean Robert and his wife Jamie. Sean's over at Brandon in the 80s. I got to meet him 2 years ago. We got to meet him 2 years ago at Retrocon, but we got to see him again. Hear all about the awesome 80s wedding that they had.
Yeah.
And we had a real long chat with them in the afternoon on Saturday. And I just messaged him a little while ago and said, man, I wish I was closer, because it's when you get those people that are your type personality, you're into the stuff that you are, and their eyes open when you hear certain key words. I was like, I wish I was closer and we could hang out more.
Yeah.
So we got to meet up with them yesterday, and then today we had a crew of buddies. One who was William Bruce West. He and I worked out a little deal. He was getting rid of some of his collectibles, specifically the Hot Wheels retro cars, which I was collecting for a while, and there's some I still wanted, and he was deciding to kind of clean closet, so to speak. and we worked out a deal on several of those cars. So he was there and brought those. So I made a deal before I even walked in the door at Retrocon.
Yeah, you did.
So William was there, and then Classic Materia. I call him Materia because he misses the L on his Twitter handle. But Classic was there. Good to see him again. He helped me up my selfie game, and we put a picture of all of us over there on Instagram, and I think up on Twitter as well. It's good to see him again from the Cold Slither Podcast Network now. Since they have retired the Cold Slither Podcast, he produces several shows. Awesome guy. And then one of the people that I've followed pretty much from the beginning as I got into the nostalgia world in 80s, Lamar Revenger, as he goes by, Dean. He was there, and he's been one of those that he's never really had his own website or blog or podcast or thing. He's always been the one that's the fan of everything.
Yeah.
So he was there, with Underscoop Fire and Cold Slither, and he's commented on my stuff and gone back and forth. All of that kind of circle with Sean and Dean's an awesome guy. He was there. We got to say hello to him, and it's always weird. You're meeting these people in real life, and you want to have a deep conversation with them, and then you're like, oh, we talk an awful lot on Twitter, so I can't talk about that because they already know that. Did you see? No, yeah, you saw that, and you liked that on Instagram. So, and you're at a convention with all these, and they're anxious if this was their first day today. They didn't come on Saturday, so I was like, I don't want to hold them up from finding some awesome stuff at Retrocon. So we talked for 20 minutes or so and kind of split ways. And we'll see as we continue around through the tables and such. But it was great to see those guys and say hello and meet them. Well, for the first time, and Classic and Dean I'd seen 2 years ago. But so we got to meet some of our pals, our social media peeps, and I don't know. Do you want to go into some of the stuff we found and actually purchased?
Yeah.
And some of the stuff that we found, we might have said, I'm going to pump the brakes on that and make my house payment this year.
Yeah, right.
Or this month.
There's a few. I think initially, like the last time we were there, if I were a millionaire, I still would have been broke.
Yeah, you could drop $1,000 without blinking
an eye.
in that place. At least I could.
You almost did.
No. For the record, I stayed within budget. For the record, and it was my budget, not our family budget. So
there you go.
I was able to do that with all restraint in place.
I don't know where my gear just ended up, but I guess for me, my wife is a big Disney fan, so I had to go look for the stuff for my family first, Disney, or my son is into Sonic, Super Mario, which is odd because I never really introduced him to Sonic. I did introduce him to Super Mario.
And how old is he?
He's 5 years old.
5 years old. Okay.
And
you've done an excellent parenting job.
It must be through osmosis because, especially for Sonic, I'd say about maybe 4 months ago, maybe longer, but about 4 months ago, he found the original classic Sonic game from Sega, from the Sega console, and started playing it on his app on his iPad. I'm like, that's cool. I used to play that. Different. I explained to him, he's amazed because I said I used to have little controllers, right? He's like, and he right away to Mom, Daddy played a computer game, my Sonic game with controllers. Did you know that? So did Mommy. So, but yeah, it was fascinating, that he's picked up on it before I even did anything about it. But yeah, so I went through they're kind of in that what's around there that I would like, but get the family first, then I can, kind of indulge myself. So found this little thumb. You've seen them throughout the years, sometimes on talk shows, especially Friends had one, I think, uh, with the Ross scene where he's the opposable thumbs. um, but it was a Mickey, 1977 Mickey Mouse. I got that for my wife, which I don't know.
It's the ones where you push the bottom of the platform and he
And
like falls apart,
right, and then
and then you let go and he
the
stands right back up
string
again.
basically just writes him back up. And then I bought my youngest, 18-month-old. I bought him a little Super Mario figurine, about, I don't know, 3-inch high, maybe. I don't know. He's 18 months, so
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what I get him. He's impressed. And then for my 5-year-old, Jason actually got this for. No, I got this at our Tennessee trip. Got a firefly, masked firefly complete with Julio. Uh, didn't have the missile, but anyway, uh, he loved that. He fell in love with it. Brought it home. He thought I brought it home for him. I did everything in my power not to lie to him. It's not for you. I'm just saying. You can play with it gingerly. So I found another one, complete, actually with the missile, which I skillfully removed. Uh, one, because I'll be honest, I'm that's my toy. I'm going to put in my toy. I've got to put that in there. It's two. It's we babysit a lot, so I don't need a lawsuit in hand with a little missile. Um, Nonetheless, I got that and gave it to him, so he can fly, firefly, whatever he wants to do. I got mine. Mine's safe. And then out of the corner of my eye, came across those little puffy stickers. One is Mr. T, and one is Knight Rider. So that was pretty cool to find. They got it gave them to me rather, for $8. They're both 5. Get to me $8. That was my $2 discount because I was dressed up like Murdoch. Um, and then we spotted that mask puzzle complete,
Oh
which was
yeah,
really a impressive. I didn't know Mask had a puzzle, let alone
jigsaw puzzles.
jigsaw puzzle. Yeah, so I scored that.
I had seen the one where it's actually taken from an episode where Matt Tracker is kind of laying on the road, and there's this like overturned tanker,
Yeah,
and fire is like coming towards him. I had seen that image before, and then come to find out, I just happened to, we happened to see this out of our like the corner of our eye. I was like, oh, that's Mask, and it's a puzzle. And then come to find out, there's like 3 different ones. So
right.
that one that I was telling you about is part of that, and then there's 2 others that I had no idea existed.
Right.
So we were able to snag that, and yeah, have fun putting that together. It's gonna
Yeah,
be fun.
without Adam around. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, actually, I need him. I need to get him into that. But nonetheless, that was, I think, all the booty I ended up scoring, because I was trying to be restrictive, because I wanted a lot of things. I wanted to get some Transformers. I'll be honest, for my son. So he had some Transformers, but it was hard for me not
So he
to.
doesn't play with yours, obviously. Yes.
Well, eventually they're going to end up his anyway. I just got to make sure it's out of that breakable zone of kids.
Yeah.
But no, I restricted myself. There was the Mask, a lot of Transformers I wanted to pick up. Um, I wanted to get myself one of the Transformer hot rods.
A little pricey.
He's rare, and I know he's rare, and he's probably worth every penny that he is worth now. But I can't pay. The cheapest one in there was $75 out of the box. He was complete. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I just can't do
So
it.
we got our picture with them instead.
That is true, but that's another
Yeah.
down
Right.
the road topic.
Right.
So you landed a few things other
I
than.
did. I've actually got them here. I'm gonna take off my headphones real quick so I can show you guys everything that I got. I am. Where should I start? I like the NECA puts out a line that's of the larger characters based on the NES games. So I was able to score 2 of those. I have um, I have Rambo at the house, and they also have. I'm trying to think what else is in the line. There's a Gremlins one, there's a Godzilla one, and I scored Batman and RoboCop. Those are still sealed.
Nice.
So, but I'm going to take the paper off because they have an awesome viewing window, so you can see the figure inside. But they're based on the actual NES games, so it's a different kind of paint scheme. The Batman one is almost like purple, and there's like a some of them have more of a like a pixelated effect on the figures. So I really enjoy those. These usually go for 25 a piece from what I've seen on eBay and stuff. So I got them both for 25. I thought
There
that
you
was a
go.
good deal. There's the you can show them the puppy stickers that you found me.
Yeah, this is the one I actually ended up giving it to Jason. He's more. I like the 18, but I'm picky. I like. I guess Dwight's probably my favorite character of all. I like them all, but Dwight was my favorite. But he's really into the puppies, and I know he likes his stuff.
Yeah. So I'll just show you my haul real quick from Will West. Thank you, Will. There's the Karate Kid Ford. We got Christine, 57 Plymouth, 57, 58. We've got. I just watched the pilot to Simon and Simon the other night, and I think I'm going to get into that show again. But that was one of my dad's favorites. But I got the old 57 Chevy and the 85 Camaro. There, you can see that now. From Simon and Simon. We still need to get what is it, Rick's truck? I don't know if they make Rick's truck, but
the macho truck,
yeah. And then this is my favorite that I really wanted since it first came out. This is the Back to the Future Biff's Ford with the complete with the manure inside. That was
they should have added a little MPEG or something in there. He goes, manure, I hate manure.
There you go. I'm a GoBots apologist.
Yes, he is.
And it mainly was because of the size, and I did enjoy the cartoon, but Matchbox and Hot Wheels were my size, so I like GoBots. But I found a couple books. One was actually from I think it was from a book on tape. Obviously, didn't have, well, record or cassette, but didn't have the didn't have either of those with it. So I'll have to find that on eBay or something. And then just another really nicely drawn, color adventure book is what they call it. So I picked those up by then. They might have been like $1 each. And then I wanted to show off just a couple freebie items.
Oh yeah.
Doing the A-Team cosplay, we got a button from Retrocon that made us an official member of the A-Team. So I was, that was even fun, even as a small giveaway.
Right.
That was great. Sean, we're branded in the 80s. He also does a podcast called Film Club, and they will go and review like the most obscure movie you could probably think of. And it's a really fun show. I listened to it and have listened to it about from the beginning. And they've done like movies like Rad, and they've actually phoned in the star of the show in that one, star of the movie, whose name skips my mind. I think it's Bill something. But they've done a whole bunch of cool cult films and reviewed those. And he is I think I can say he's in love with these enamel pins. He got these made up. These were this is original art, I believe, from him. The skull, reel-to-reel projector, and then Steve Buscemi over here. He gave me 2 of those pins. I think you got one too.
I do. Those
so
are
that
awesome.
was really neat, and he's going to get me into those pins pretty soon if I'm not careful. This was one of the cards from the G.I. Joe guys, and my favorite character is Lowlight. So the guy we talked to is actually has a Lowlight costume.
Yeah.
Because I asked him, I was like, "Where's Lowlight? Who's Lowlight?" And
he raised his hand and said, "That's me."
He showed me that. A couple more things. An A-Team pencil sharpener, Jeep pencil sharpener. Loved the imagery on that one and that card back.
Especially that it comes complete with Amy Allen there.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
They put Amy in that one. And then, like I said, well, I'll show you the GoBots. This was kind of a package deal. I caught the smaller Voltron Lion, and I had not exactly remembered that they did a miniature, essentially, version that was separatable and become individual lions. I still have a die-cast, the one from my childhood. And I saw this small one, and I noticed that, oh, hey, it essentially transforms just like the larger die-cast. So I saw that, and then right next to it was the GoBots in their power suits, I'll call it. I remember these as a kid over at our mutual friend's house. He had several of these that were the suits, and they become like a larger robot, I believe. You can attach them legs and arms.
It's a suited up, I'll call it like a GoBot suit, not person suit, a Voltron type of put together robot.
So, but I noticed that there was GoBots inside, and we did find some that were still in the package, and there's actually like a
chart on the
back that tells you which GoBots can go with which power suit that will fit inside. And one of the ones that I saw was one of the ones I had as a kid, who I believe is called Fightor. It's a fighter jet, bad guy, and this other one is like the drill tank, I'll say. Never had that as a kid, but those two were just sitting there next to the Black Lion, and I believe I got those for $10 for all three, which was a great deal. And then I like to dig. I'm a digger. Comic books, records.
You really restrained yourself pretty well with the comic book.
I did today. I almost started diving in because I saw some G.I. Joe, and I collect the Marvel G.I. Joe line. And I was like, well, I don't know. I'll have to pull up my spreadsheet through comic book realm to figure out which ones I need. I decided not to, but I did dig in a random dollar action figure bin. And one of the lines that I collected as a kid that I ended up selling back to eBay to fund my mask obsession was Rambo. So I had to I got me a Rambo for $1. He's
my little one hears me down here podcasting. Dada!
Yeah, you better go check him out for a minute, and
I'll be back after this commercial break.
I'll keep going with my find.
Take everything out. Oh, I found a burl.
Get your stuff too if you need. All right, so I got me Rambo here. I'll shut the door there so Wyatt can go tend to Ryan. Rambo, these were the big, 6-inch figures. I had the helicopter that had the pull trigger and it spun the helicopter blades, missiles on the side and everything. The thing was never designed for flight, the toy at least. But I had the Rambo, and I had the long RPG with the orange missile on the end that shot out and is now, an eye hazard for modern age. Found Rambo in a dollar bin. I found a thumb wrestler, Big John Stud. I've gotten my boys somewhat into, my thumb doesn't fit, obviously I'm adult now, so I can't fit it in there very well. But I got my boys a little bit into wrestling, classic wrestling, and introduced them to some of the characters and even the modern wrestlers. But I saw Big John Stud. I had to grab him because I don't have any of those in my collection. And this one, I was like, no way. This is Turbo, American Gladiators. I don't know how many characters they made, or even the actual, if they had the obstacles and everything, what kind of play sets they had. But I saw Turbo here, 1991. I do remember watching those when it was very popular. So I grabbed Turbo there. And then the thing that I said I cannot leave Retrocon without, I saw it on Saturday. I saw the price tag, and I was like, what am I going to do? You going to join us? I think we got a third. Okay, we'll bring him in. Let me move some of my stuff here so I can sit down. Yeah, what you see? I ended up going for it. I got me the A-Team, the full A-Team, the 6-inch figures from back in the day, complete with accessories. The
that was an
accessories
awesome
fell
find.
out, but yeah, it was, and they're in great condition. The paint's really good on them. You know, they got their backpacks and gear. I remember having BA and Murdoch as a kid, and if you followed me at all a little bit on Instagram as I was traveling up, my Murdoch lost an arm. So
He's OA,
yeah,
Murdoch right
OA,
now.
one arm Murdoch. So I remember them as a kid, and I remembered about what their accessories were. Mr. T had a toolbox to you know, fix the van, and Murdoch had like binoculars, and of course they had their AKs and stuff. And the whole there's a small package of accessories that came with it. And I was like, it's all there.
Yeah.
So essentially, it's for these figures complete. And
I packed up Murdoch, actually,
yeah,
sitting all alone on a table. So he didn't have the web gear, but that was probably my only present I got out of the deal. Everybody else got something
yeah.
too.
So yeah, I was like, you know, this is the A-Team convention. We got to meet them. I've wanted to recollect at least those two, and I hadn't seen all four together complete. And if you know, eBay, it's hard. It's hard to get the right seller and the right, you know, collectibles and toys that you want, and at the right for the right price, and you know, uh, ones that aren't, you know, the paint's totally missing and all that. So that was the ultimate find for me at Retrocon, getting the full A-Team, and it was a nice surprise to see this thrown in my pack too, because some of these stickers, actually, if you've seen my sticker book from my childhood, uh, that was part of that sticker book, these Mr. T stickers. So, and since he wasn't there, you know, that fool needs to come to conventions.
He
That's all I got to
does.
say.
I don't know what he. Maybe he's cost too much. I don't know, but yeah, he needs to show up. But this was just an awesome find event, and my little ones just thrilled
Yeah,
to have me back. Obviously, I've gone for too long, but this was just
it was great. The concert, you guys have
that
got to go
was
see Cybertronic Spree. That was like probably my favorite thing, really. You know, it was awesome to meet everybody, of course, and even this, you know, the celebrities and all of our friends over there. But the band, you know, I knew it was going to be fun. I had seen a few songs on YouTube, so I know that they could play and play in those full costumes. But I was blown away. I was really, really blown away. Between Hot Rod and RC, they've got an awesome chemistry on stage. RC can wail. I
yes,
mean,
she did.
if you know, back in the day, back in the '80s, you're thinking Stan Bush and, you know, uh, Dawkins and Striper and all the, you know, Twisted Sister. Those dudes wailed. I mean,
Yeah,
high notes. And you think about it nowadays, you know, they're all in their 50s, 60s. There's no way they're going to hit that notes. And a girl is perfect for these
it
songs.
is.
And she just belted out, screaming the notes to perfection. Let me tell you, it was such a great time. They played, like Wyatt was saying earlier, um, probably 6 or 7 songs off the Transformers soundtrack. They did, gosh, they did the theme to Jason the World Warriors, for crying
Yes,
out loud, as a request. I think
right.
is what they said.
Well, their finale was the Ghostbusters theme, which
Finale
was
was the
actually very
Ghostbusters.
impressive.
I'm going to try to put up. I did several short videos, not great quality from my phone, but I'm going to try to splice those together just to give y'all an experience. But you got to go check them out on YouTube. There's much better quality, much better idea of what they sound like. But it's kicking. It's rock. It's metal. it's synth, it's so many awesome elements combined, and to do that all that in their costumes is amazing. They infused several different songs. Like they took the new Voltron theme from the Netflix series and introed that into, I can't remember which one off the Transformers the movie soundtrack. They did Pokemon.
Yeah. And then they had the balloons popping around.
Yeah, they had the Pokeballs balloons that we were throwing those around in the audience. They did Power Rangers.
Yeah.
They did that theme. They did the theme to the Star Wars animated series Droids. It's just a playlist that you're not going to hear anywhere else.
No.
Nobody else is doing these songs. Nobody else is doing the set that they do. So I would highly recommend, if they come near you at all, go check them out. We paid $12 to get in, and it was worth the best. I told him it was the best $12 I've ever spent at a concert. Seriously, I'm being serious about that. And it was just standing room only, and everybody was singing along. They did a faux phone call with Starscream calling in requesting Stan Bush's The Touch, which was hilarious. And it was all kind of like rubbing it in Unicron, who's the main guitarist's face.
That was awesome.
I mean, they did at the end of The Touch, they flowed The Touch into the very end of Guns N' Roses' November Rain perfectly. And you hear the songs separately, you're like, how could that be combined? But they just flowed that in there awesome. I can't say enough about them, so I'm just going to leave it at that. They will meet your expectations. They will meet your whatever you're going to pay to get in to see them.
Right.
So go see Cybertronic Spree. Really wish some of our other friends and such would have been there and got a chance to go to the concert with them. But it was a neat venue too. There's like bowling alleys on both sides of us.
Yeah.
But there's nobody bowling, man. I mean, they were like everybody stopped and they're in there trying to catch the concert. So and they were really friendly, really cool.
Oh yes, very approachable.
They know how to cater to the audience. They know who their audience is. But I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, RC has quite a fan base, at least a male fan base. There was a couple guys around us that go, RC, will you marry me?
Yeah. We love you, RC.
Wait till she takes the helmet off. Yeah. You never know.
Hey, that's not all that matters, man. That's not all that matters. I'll just say that. That was great. And then just today, like we said, meeting, we got to talk a long time. I did most of the talking with Rob Paulson, mainly because he had a Michigan hat on, and I'm Central Pennsylvania, Penn State fan. With them playing next week, we had a fun chat about that. And I had told Wyatt, and I ended up being able to tell Ron that I caught him on the Gilbert Gottfried podcast, which is a fun show. I would definitely recommend that. He was very just honest about he had throat cancer, like stage 3 throat cancer. Went through that whole thing, and as a voice actor, holy cow, how devastating would that be, and the unknowns and everything that goes through your brain. And he kind of went through all that on Gilbert's podcast, so I'll recommend you go check that out. But he was very approachable, very conversational. He was the one that was like, we didn't have anything to sign for him. We're not necessarily the biggest Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle fans, or Pinky the Brain and some of the other great shows that he did. But we just went up, had a conversation with him, shook his hand, and was telling me we were grateful that he came over. And I know there's a lot of people waiting in line for him to sign stuff, and we talked for probably 20 minutes, and I was getting to the point where, okay, I need to say goodbye, because I could have gone forever just talking with him. He was just such a reasonable guy. But that was really fun today, getting to talk with him. I'm trying to think what else we did. Gouging the tables is mainly what we did. Sunday, we sat in on 2 2 panels. We sat in on the panel with Rob Paulson and Arthur Burkhart. Got to hear a little bit about how they got started. Both of them were worked together in GI Joe, and a couple other times down the line they were talking about that, and even went back and forth on how the other inspired, and had an awesome panel with Dwight and Dirk on the A-Team, their experience with that. Very interesting stories. I would say mainly a fun experience for both of them making the show. Outside of that, though, they had a lot of I don't know what I want to call it.
They were candid about how the A-Team, and you can see a lot of their stories are actually told on YouTube. So go to their interviews, whether you catch the Retrocons or not. Just go look them up. You probably hear about the same interview topics that Dirk and Dwight really fielded. But it was still an awesome interview. I get ate up just being around those. To me, they're superstars, not the current ones. You know, they're my superstars.
Right. They're our generation.
And but they're real. They tell you how things rolled. They tell you that they were coming on their own as the actors because NBC.
The executives hated the show.
Yeah.
And they hated that it was a #1 show, essentially. And they did everything they could do to
get rid of it, but they were still the #1 for 4 years. They conceded, yes, there was 5 seasons, but it was successful for 4. That's where Dirk left it. But it was still awesome to see all that, and they're still friends. They still talk. Dirk is quite frank. He has not worked since I think 18, and he left Hollywood, went back to Montana, and he doesn't regret it.
Yeah.
Now Dwight, like we've said, he's stayed into the voice acting realm and mostly video game stuff. I'm sure he's done other things too while he did Star Trek. And he said that was a different experience. And the interviews you see on the YouTube are the same.
Yeah.
Where, when they got canceled or were fired or whatever happened at A-Team, there was nothing. There was not even. It's been great working with you for 4 or 5 years. There was nothing. It was.
Yeah. It was.
Here's your papers. See ya.
It's over. Bye.
But Dwight even joked. I think I have 3 or 4 jackets. I had pot shots once a year. I don't. How do I have 4 jackets? Hey, great work with you. A whole different mentality with that
the A-Team,
cast and crew. But
so that was very interesting to hear.
But it's still great to see them. You know, they were very approachable. Like we said when we went up to talk to them, very approachable.
Very candid, field of questions. I got to ask a question that they answered. Well, that mainly Dirk answered about the remake, and I do find fun in the remake movie that they did, but he essentially hit it on the head that, with all these remakes that Hollywood does now, it's all driven by money to make money. So
it's not for the entertainment value anymore. It's what can give me the quick dime and get me out of here
and get enough of the source material. And he even went into how back in the 80s, all these shows, Glenn Larson and Stephen J. Cannell, it was a blank slate, something they created, something they just went for and weren't afraid to fail, even if they did. And nowadays, it's, there's so much more involved in this has to make money, or we have to at least make 13 episodes so we break even, and here's how we do it. And there's so many limitations into all this. So there's a lot more Hollywood, a lot less producers, writers, original material. And it's obviously it's not hard to see that going on in Hollywood, but he did just an awesome take on how they viewed it, even though they essentially did their cameo roles in the new movie. But it was a great panel. Was glad to be there for that, and we pretty much ended the day on that. I took lots of pictures of cosplayers. Great cosplay happening today. My favorite, and this was just the icing on the cake for Retrocon. Um, my favorite cosplay of the weekend was this family. Um, one who was disabled came in as Pee Wee's Playhouse.
That was
The dad was Cowboy Curtis, and I think the mom was Pee Wee, and they had I think it was a daughter or maybe a sister, an aunt that
someone.
was
Yeah.
Miss Yvonne, and her wheelchair was Cherry, and the littlest one, she was Penny. She had the glasses to make Penny the Penny cartoons. And the thing that blew me away was Conky. They
Yes.
had a Conky, a a remote control Conky that played the Pee Wee's Playhouse theme on
Yeah.
loop. I was ready for it to spit out the secret word of the day. I really was.
Me too.
Had the the faux record on the front. It was just awesome. And immediately it stopped me in my tracks. I had to get a picture. They said, let us get down to the end of this aisle, because they were in the middle of the aisles there. They got down to the end, snapped a picture. On the drive back, I posted it to Twitter and tagged Pee Wee Herman in the picture. I said, "This is my favorite cosplay of Retrocon 2017," and he retweeted it.
Yeah.
Pee Wee retweeted it. Said, "I can two eyes it. I can see it. Thanks for sharing." It was a short little
Right.
retweet with a comment. And I got a jazz out of that. I was on the jazz for
He's on the
Pee
jazz,
Wee.
man. He's on the
2 million followers on Twitter to retweet that picture.
Yeah.
I was grateful too that he recognized that this is some cosplay right here. This is people that love the show, because look, they created a Conky. Fantastic. So that was a real neat experience at the end of the day. Like I said, GI Joe, they always bring their game. I remember 2 years ago there was a Serpentor on his chariot, and that just blew me away. But the costumes, they did different ones Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, they did.
That was great. What are some of the other cosplayers we remember seeing?
They had a Pikachu walking around. There was two cosplay people as exhibitionists. I guess is the best way to put it. Not in the porn side, but they had their booths. That's probably a better way. They had
Yeah.
their booths there. I don't know what the girl's name was, but she plays Supergirl, Batgirl.
Yes, professional cosplayers,
Yeah,
basically.
there's two of them.
There was an awesome Megatron.
Yeah,
The original G1 Megatron. He was posing with Cybertronic Spree when we were getting some pictures of those. That was an incredible costume to put together. And I did Destro, the Destro that I saw yesterday, the Iron Grenadier, whatever version of Destro with the gold helmet.
That was pretty good.
That was awesome, and I kind of wanted to be there because he was in line for Arthur Burkhardt, who played Destro, and that would have been an awesome reaction. I would imagine he maybe even signed the helmet.
Yeah.
I've got a few more. I got to go get my phone.
So go look them up.
Yeah, let me go check it out.
Yeah,
I posted some on YouTube. I'm gonna do some more.
They had a lot of Batman, Spider-Man, a lot of Star Wars. They had a few Ghostbuster cosplays. The A-Team. There was another A-Team set, all female, but one played BA, one played Hannibal, and one played Murdoch.
I regret not getting a picture of
with them, yeah,
because the BA was
pretty good.
Awesome. We kind of got in, saw those as we were heading out the car to drop some of our gear.
I think out for lunch, but yeah,
or lunch, yeah, one or the other. But that was just fun when they, you kind of do the gender reversal.
Oh, there's that little girl that you took a picture of. Oh man, what was her? You just thought it was awesome.
Well, on the way out, the very last picture I took at Retrocon was of characters, the David Bowie character from Labyrinth. And
well, there's another little girl you pointed out. She was actually a kid.
Oh yeah, she's 11 from Stranger Things. She had a forced battle with Darth Vader.
That was awesome.
So she had her little. The picture that I didn't get a chance to take was they both had their arms out. You know, Darth Vader using the Force and 11 using her telekinetics. You know,
there was the Double Dare girl.
The Double
that
Dare
was awesome.
girl. She had the full red uniform,
the bowl on top with sponges. You could actually play the game and throw.
Oh my
sponges.
gosh, I didn't see that. The Double Dare logo. She had a flag in her side,
goggles, safety
and the goggles.
It was
that
sweet.
was great.
I don't think she was old enough to know who that was, but it was. I mean,
we had
she did it.
There was a kid in the Greatest American Hero outfit. That was awesome. Lots of Star Wars, so I got some of those. The Jawas, the Stormtroopers. They had that little remote control black box droid. Yeah, that was awesome. I took a picture of an awesome Master Chief cosplay from Halo to send to my boys because we love playing some Halo now. The Macho Man.
Yeah,
Macho Man. Orange. I don't know if you can even see that, but this dude was awesome. I was fully expecting him to have a pack of Slim Jims handing out while he was going through. But Macho Man was great. Like he said, there was a lot of A-Team cosplayers there. Yeah. And that was great to see, you know, them represent.
We kept the characters. You know, there was the one Hannibal that kind of seemed to follow us for quite a while. we were wondering if they were trying to stalk us or admire us. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, but he had a larger gun, so I left him alone.
Yeah.
The G.I. Joe guys had this awesome background for you to take picture. It's the explosion, you know, card back,
right?
You know, floor poster that we took some pictures behind, and then yeah, I mean that was probably the best cosplayers I snapped that were there. That Conky man.
That was probably the.
I did put a picture of that up on Instagram, but for those of you watching,
I think the best two were the Double Dare and the Conky. The whole ensemble of Pee Wee's Playhouse was just.
Yeah.
That was it. That was the best ones.
There. And again, you know,
they were all great, but that was the two that I personally were favored.
Right. And when I was, you know, we looking through our nostalgia guys, so I'm looking for obscure stuff from the 80s that people are cosplaying you don't see. There was a lot of other great, you know, like you were saying, superhero, Deadpool, and, you know, all the ones that you would normally see, Harley Quinn and, you know, the Joker, Batman. There was a couple that were Shrek and
today
whoever the Shrek's wife is. They were dressed up. Did you notice they were dressed up as the Princess Leia and Han Solo from Star Wars?
Yeah.
But they were Shrek. That was pretty comical. I like when they combine stuff like that too. With the, you know, the role reversals we were talking about. But awesome cosplay. The vehicles, you know, like you were saying, that the DeLorean was there. I got to sit in that for the first time a couple of years ago. So I just took a picture of the dude polishing the stainless steel on the DeLorean this time.
Well, we saw two A-Team vans because Tony had his, and then this morning, we saw one out in the parking lot.
There was another one in the parking lot. We didn't really get close with, not knowing it. Well, you pretty much recognized it was different because I had
that one outdoors had the antennas. The one indoors that Tony's trying to finish, it's not complete, but it was missing the antennas, and even the guy that was doing some of the work for him said that there was no one set A-Team van.
Tony's, but anyway,
whatever.
They were putting in the computer, like when they do their surveillance, you know, all those computer screens and consoles in the van. They were doing those in the back to kind of try to be as accurate as they can to the show and what was actually in the very back.
Right.
And you know, they were going to try to put like a weapons
cabinet in there. Which, you know, some scenes you see a bench seat. Sometimes, like he said, you see just a wall. Sometimes there was nothing back there, but where'd the welding kit come out of? You know, that kind of thing showed up, and there was so much inconsistencies with the van. Some had sunroof, some didn't. It wasn't like the cookie cutter, I'll call it, generally in the kit. You know what to expect. Every car was the same.
Yeah.
And people noticed, unless you open, like, especially like the General Lee, pop the trunk open, you knew it was, hey, there's the gold. Oh, well, I was originally a gold Charger back then. But yeah, they were all pretty well consistent, where everything went.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was still a blast to see all that there.
Yeah. There was like I said, it's a little bit of everything, and there's something there for
Everybody. And even if you're
everybody.
not, they had a lot of people, artists there that were reliving the old with new. So you had the pixel art, plastic stuff that goes together. They were there. There was artists, like self-made artists that had, I think some was the anime stuff, but they'd still have something over here of Sonic or Mario,
Masters of the Universe.
something.
There's some nice prints of
there's a guy
all
there.
different kinds of things, all different kinds of styles. There's a dude there with was it made out of copper? It was like copper plates of different logos and sayings and stuff.
There's a guy that's trying to start out into his own cartoon works with I think Nickelodeon. He said he's did talks with.
Yeah, his style was more that
90s,
early 90s, all those bumpers that you would see on Nickelodeon with the dinosaurs and the barbershop quartet. His style was really similar to that.
So you saw him.
There was a lot of things like that. In the crowd, you get the cosplayers, you get the parents, the dad with the kid, and there were several times where, all right, you got to come here and I want to tell you about this, and I saw the dad or the mom.
I used to have this. Yeah,
this is what I had back in the day, and those moments were really great too. What was some of the things that we picked out that were like, I didn't know that existed?
Well, like there was the Alf, and I found that Super Mario baking the cake pans. I didn't know they existed. There was
the one thing that I saw was there was a Mr. T jigsaw puzzle that was cut out in this. It had the like card back almost that you placed the jigsaw puzzle pieces in, but it was a photo that I had never seen before, and it's Mr. T in his full gear, and has this huge smile on his face,
which was rare.
Yeah. I mean, he somewhat smiles in some things, but
his little.
I had never seen that image. I put that one up on Instagram.
Well, there was also that draw magnadoodle.
That they wanted a little too much for my taste on what it was. The magnadoodle with Mr. T. So you give Mr. T a crazy mustache and more hair and afro instead of a mohawk.
They had some Mork and Mindy stuff. They actually had an action doll that was still in the box upside down.
Yeah. I saw a smaller one that was in his egg.
Right. They had Robotech figurines all over the place, or that one place had a lot of them. You found your Smurf game you were hesitant to buy.
That was like a nostalgia trip. That was one of those things, I forgot I had it. And yes, I do remember it. That happened to me twice. The first was the Smurfs board game, and it had to do with these little pieces. There's fruits and stuff, and they kind of drop down inside the board itself in some places as you're going around. I was trying to remember it, but how to play it and how it all worked. But I remember having that as a kid. The other one was that G.I. Joe jigsaw puzzle that we found. It was the guy on the front is either like Grunt or one of the what I would call the generic faces of G.I. Joe.
Right.
And they had Duke and Scarlet kind of back in the background of it. Didn't pick it up though. I'm kind of wishing I had picked that up. I'm gonna get some water. My throat has been talking too much.
Yeah.
What else?
Well, they had there's a lot of Transformers I didn't know existed. Even in the cartoons, I was kind of blown away with some of them. There was, what was it that caught my eye?
There's a couple things we were
there's
both
tons of things that caught my eye.
We were like, wow. And just what was the thing you were eyeing? The Thomas the Train that was a Transformer?
Yeah. So if you have kids, you know that this exists. Maybe you don't. My 5-year-old stumbled onto this. There's a cartoon. This guy literally enlisted his son, I think his wife. They're the voice work, And it's a Thomas the Train Transformer, and you know, I'm gonna knock your buffers off, is some of the lines, and they do the transforming, which is hilarious. Is get ready for an exciting what was it? Exciting trademark infringement mode, and he transforms. You hear the just like the Transformers, and he goes after Megatrain. Well, they have yeah, that's hilarious.
That's awesome.
So
They had
yeah, they had a whole like 5 robot, kind of like a Voltron Devastator style figurine, but each separate arm didn't do anything. I mean, it wasn't like it changed into a separate train. It just had a kind of face and a kind of part of the train truck wheels, and that was it. So I'm like, kind of lame. But there was one singular one, yeah, the Transformer. They want $100 for it. I'm like, Adam, sorry, you're gonna get that one for Christmas.
That Mr. T Magnadoodle was 40. I was like, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no.
As awesome as it is, I'm gonna have to pass. Ended up, you know, getting what I wanted that was 18 because I wanted to get something that was 18 while we were there.
Yeah, there was so much there.
Yeah, I mean, it's again trying to recall just in the last 2 days everything that we saw that we were wild over.
There was a board game guy this time that had all types of board, you know, I'll call it retro games. And I had to ask the question, I even know I knew what the answer was. Have you found that coveted one-off game that no one can find? And they right away knew what I was talking about, which was Fireball Island. And of course they said, no, if it is in existence, it's not, you know, complete, which I've Craigslist searched it every now and then. And if you find one whole, it's $300-400. If you find a few pieces there, they're still upwards of 180. So it's like, why?
There's even people that
remake it with the
3D printing pieces and the jewels and everything. And yeah, I mean that's you know, that would be a holy grail find if you found it at a show like this, and people would know it and you would pay out the butt because
we found the Trump game.
Yes.
Yeah, there's all types of stuff. Yeah, the old play school, you know, the little walk behind, pull behind dog, the play sets.
Oh yeah, the color forms. They had color forms there for Voltron, the A-Team, and I think Silverhawks.
Yep.
We saw some Silverhawks there. We saw some Centurions. We saw a bunch of masks.
Yeah.
More than I thought we were going to find. Some of the obscure ones too. My mask collection is not complete, and I probably should have asked them what they wanted for that. It's the '63 Corvette called oh crap, I can't remember. Wolf Beast.
Oh wow.
It was actually Miles Mayhem that they did in that last series of toys that nobody pretty much knows the story behind because they never made it into the series. The series was canceled past the racing series. Anyway, yeah, we found some mask stuff there. Obviously, you picked up Firefly. Yeah.
They had the Alf keychains.
Oh yeah.
And then they had this one huge life-size Alf that even said clearly, "This Alf not for sale," or "This is not for sale," something like that.
What did they say on there? He's not housebroken,
but he eats cats or something like that.
Your cats are not safe. Or something like
that. Found another hand puppet. I didn't pick it up, but I found another Burger King hand puppet.
Yeah, the Alf.
Then there was actually I'll call it a teddy bear size Alf there. I was tempted.
I missed that because
you pointed out to give it to Adam, and I'm like, I don't know if I would, but yeah.
I didn't see the one that I had that had the top.
We found a Teddy Ruxpin. There.
Teddy Ruxpin was there. Lots of great stuff, and you know, pretty much video games and consoles from
all over.
There
was one there. That one stand was actually very reasonable, like 35, 45 for. They had boxes of original Sega Genesis, NES, Super NES. That was. I was honest. I was almost tempted to grab.
We found those Tiger Electronic handheld games. I found the American Gladiators.
You found that one game that you said you had with the red button on the side.
I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, it was like a version of Space Invaders.
Yeah,
lots of great stuff there. We were wild by pretty much every aisle we went down. We're like, oh man, I'm going so broke. But luckily, like I said, I stayed within budget. I did. So, well, we're dragging on, I think, a little bit.
Yeah, but this is a great event. Another mind blown walk
awesome time. Yeah, did
down
not want it
Lumberry
to
Lane.
end.
No,
did not want it to end. I don't know how I made it only one day last year. So I'm. This is going to be my little getaway each year if I can, to come up for both days.
Yeah.
Meet some of you folks if you're going to happen to be there. But check it out online, retrocons.com. The admission is well worth it just to get in and experience everything, take pictures, find your, rare collectibles. And, each year it seems to be, and I've been kind of keeping tabs, even though we didn't make it last year. It seems like every year they're trying to
plus it up,
top themselves, or at least maintain a high bar, and they've
done it.
They have done it.
Tony Rose, you guys do a great job,
yeah.
and all that staff that's there. You even mentioned there, Tony, that all those volunteers really help you out, and it's
yeah, and everybody does it for the fun of it.
Yeah,
they're there to experience it themselves, but they also are there to keep people coming back year after year.
Right.
And great job this year. We applaud you. Great job bringing the band in. We hope to see them again next year.
Right.
And we're going to request the mask theme if they come back.
Yes.
I'm gonna like email it to them and say, get working on this now. So next year when you come to Retrocon,
you're practiced up, ready to go.
You're gonna play some Masked Crusaders. We're gonna rock out to
Maybe
that.
We should add a twist to it and ask them to do the Venom theme with it.
Oh yeah, that would be cool. Somehow, cut it out. Do a record scratch in the middle of the song or something.
Yeah.
Do that. Do the Venom theme. But yeah, great experience. Great 2 days, and grateful. Be here with my buddy as we remember all this stuff. I could probably remember some of it by myself, but putting us together in a place like this,
it's always a stop and go. Hey, look! Hey.
And that's one thing I'm grateful for. There's one day I'm going to bring my boys,
yes,
just to have the full experience. But the ability to take your time and go from booth to booth and check out every little thing in the booth and on the floor and bins and shelves, and you have to be able, if you really want to get and find something rare, find something, you'll spot stuff, but you're going to miss a lot too, because there's just so much there.
Right.
And it's just an awesome experience for collectors. So
it is.
We hope to see you there next year. Retrocons.com. Go follow them on Twitter. It's Retrocons out there. They're now on Instagram, Facebook. Facebook is primary communication for them too. Post pictures, updates, and all that throughout the year. And been able to partner with them some with Rediscover the 80s and syndicating some of their announcements over there as they remain known to the voice actors and everybody that they're bringing in to kind of help them out because we have such a great time.
That's right.
And it's just, I feel like this convention more than any other fits what I want to do on Rediscover the 80s perfectly.
Yeah.
So that's why we quote unquote sponsor it.
Yeah.
But it's more of a mutual respect for each other.
Right.
You would say. So go check it out, and I guess we'll sign off for now. Hopefully get back to podcasting more.
Yeah, family.
This was
time,
definitely a motivator, and job changes and other things kind of impede that. So impede that. But we appreciate everybody, listening, watching, and hope you will book your ticket for Retrocon in 2018. And if you did make it to the show and we didn't get a chance to talk to you, shoot us an email, shoot us a message on social media.
Yeah.
And we will find you. So thank you, Wyatt, again for
anytime.
Hosting me.
This is fun.
And we appreciate everybody listening to Rediscover the 80s. and check out the website, check out social media, and go check out Retrocon. And we will see you next time.
Same bad time, same bad channel.